Welcome back to Hurley's Hobbies. I'm going to start on the covering. I actually already did one wing because I wanted to try it, and there is a learning curve to it. It's not perfect, but I might redo it. I don't know. So, but we're going to start on the other side, the other wing. Um, I'm using Polytack. I have the poly fiber reducer, and I also have the poly brush. I just got the poly products, and I am using the SIG covering for it. And one thing I have noticed, it's actually quite a bit cheaper to do it this way than if I would have definitely used Oratex. Because Oratex for one roll would not have done that whole plane. And for what I have into this, and I can do more than one plane, um, it's cheaper. I think I spent less on all of this. I bought two 1 yard pieces of the SIG, and I bought two yards of the SIG at the hobby store. That's all they had. And what I ordered the Polytack stuff from Wix Aircraft, and with shipping and everything, I don't think I even spent what it would cost for one roll of Ortec. I am using a small iron to put it on. I got this off of Amazon. I don't remember what it was, how much it cost, but to apply it, I do have a small iron. I never had a small trim iron. I'm not using my big one. And I'm also using a heat gun to shrink it. That's what I did on this. Um, I would say it does take longer because you're actually brushing it all on and then turning around. Depends on how many coats you want to put of the Polytack on, and then heating it up around the edges, cutting it and heating it in, just as if you would do the Ortec or any other product. But it does take longer. But I think the end product is going to be way better in the end. I mean, I'm actually, like I say, there is a learning curve to it, but I think it's a way better product in the end. Um, I haven't brushed none of the poly brush on yet. I haven't done that yet. All I've done was just put it on and shrunk it. I didn't go down every joint and do it, which, I watched quite a few YouTube videos. There's not a whole lot of YouTube videos out there on the Polytack. There is another way you can use this is you can buy, because this is like 1 3/4 ounce, 1.5 ounce. I don't remember. It doesn't say on here. I think this is like 1.5 ounce, and you can get the China silk, which weighs like 2 ounces, so it's only like a half ounce more. This might be 1 1/4, but it's like way cheaper. This for 1 yard was like $8.99, and you can get the China stuff at like less than $2.50 a yard. I mean, it's quite a bit cheaper. I have seen online that somebody used it, but then they used some kind of different kind of dope. All right, what I seen a guy do, he used Mod Podge. Mod Podge. I use it. I've used this before for puzzles to glue your puzzles down. That's what you see in my pictures in the background. Um, are puzzles, and we use this to seal them. So then you can frame them and and but he put a couple layers of this, and then he just had the China silk and went around and heated it with the iron and shrunk it, and then he used, I don't know what brush, like I have poly brush, I don't know what brush product he used. He brushed it afterwards, and that guy actually loves that process better because this doesn't have the smell and all the stuff that these do. This is a lot cheaper. But he said he can't even get none of the stuff to do the like any of the tack stuff. He couldn't even get any of it anymore. But I think he was over in Europe or somewhere. But enough rambling on. Let's get a brushing. I'm probably just gonna time lapse it. I'm just using some little the little hobby brushes, and I cut them down with a pair of scissors. Not the same scissors I use to cut my silk with, a different pair. I have really sharp hobby knives, so you are going to go through a lot of hobby blades. So you're going to want to have a lot of hobby blades. I noticed that when I did that one. They dull really super fast. And I did have a better pair of scissors. And I will say that it is even dull in these. These have, and these were brand new. But it's even dull on my scissors pretty fast. So, and I never sharpened a pair of scissors before. I don't know if I even have the stuff to do it. So, but enough talking. Let's get back to it. I took some of the poly fiber reducer and put it in here. I'm pretty sure all it is MEK because it even has it on the says like 60% methanol. I mean, whatever. It's like I'm pretty sure that's all it is MEK, but I haven't tried it. I was gonna buy some MEK, and all they had was the huge gallon of it. I didn't want to buy a huge gallon, but you are gonna want to have a well ventilated place when you use this. It is strong. I did it last night. I had a fan in the window. This stuff's even really strong. I might have to put the fan back in the window if it gets too overwhelming because because it's like almost like 5 degrees outside right now. So that's in American degrees. So it's kind of, I'm not sure if I want to open the window yet, but I may end up having to. So all I did was take my time, make sure it's not thick, and brush it on. Don't leave no gobs anywhere. Because I'm pretty sure the first initial coat is just going to soak in. So on the last one, at the first side I did, I I just was just only tacking it as I was going and then setting it in it and rubbing it in. And then the top side I did, I actually went around and brushed it in first, like I am now. Put 2 light coats, and it seemed to work a lot better. And then iron it and let this dry, and then iron it in. And I did take this and put it in some, obviously in some jars. I don't have to use it right out of the container. No, I kind of wish I would have used the smaller jars. Alright, I stopped and put the fan in the window, so you probably hear it running, but it was quite getting too potent. You know, do as I say, not what as I do type thing. Alright, I'm gonna let this side dry. I tried to only go a brush wide or smaller. I did go across this rib because most like, you know, if you take a chance and you wing over, you're gonna put a hole in this one. If I have to ever replace it, I can just cut back to that one rib. Even though the poly brush should stick it to all the ribs, I still glued the tack on this one. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. So I try to let this, make sure this dries, and I can flip it over, do the other side, and then let that dry and come back and do this side. Um, I do want to say I'm not affiliated with Wix Aircraft or Polytac. I bought all this with my own money. Nobody, you know, gave me any of it, or they're not sponsored, nothing like that. This is just I went with Wix Aircraft because I have bought stuff from Wix before. They have really beautiful customer service. Um, and I've never ordered for aircraft spruce before. So that's why I went with the Polytech. I have seen that a lot of other people get the stuff from um, aircraft spruce. And I know the Polytech with aircraft spruce, you can cut it with 50-50. I think with paint thinner. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. Like I say, I'm no expert in this. This is the first plane I've ever done this with, but so far I'm really impressed. Um, the biggest thing is the cost. The cost is way less. I would have covered this with monocoat, but monocoat is getting really hard. Is getting hard to get. Especially, you know, Top Flight. Top Flight. I've used Top Flight. I've used monocoat. I've used the cheap Chinese stuff. Um, monocoat I do think is the best, but I think monocoat is on its way out too. I don't know what's going on. It's probably because people aren't building. Um, maybe they'll come back if people start building more. But I mean, you guys can leave your opinion in the comments below what you think is going on. Um, but that's, you know, and then the other reason why I went with this because I want to cover these open areas on my Corsair. And usually I used to use Vortex, and my one roll went bad. I bought another roll, and I don't know if it's just an old roll or what's going on with it, but I'm not happy with it. So that's why I'm doing this, because I do plan on glassing the whole plane, fiberglass in it. So that's why I'm doing this, is just so I can cover the open areas and the control surfaces. So see how we're doing here. Let's try. Flip it over and continue. All right, I got the whole thing with one coat. I'm gonna let it sit. dry, and I'll come back and do another coat. I'm not sure how long that took. I will say the second coat seems to go, it doesn't soak right in, so it seems to spread a lot easier, go a lot farther. But I would definitely recommend two coats. But that's just me. I'm, like I say, it's my first time ever doing this, so and I'm probably gonna try to get a smaller jar, because I don't know if you can see on my jar, it's all sticking to the top. It's like it doesn't, the tall jar doesn't give it time to run down back into the with the other stuff before it dries. I mean, some of it does, but I'm probably wasting some. I obviously I just got the clear. I didn't get the. They make it in a dyed color, I believe, too. Even the polytack. If I had to do it over again, I would probably buy the dyed one, just for the simple fact. I mean, you can see where you laid it, because it changes the color of the wood. But when you do the second coat, it does get more difficult. All right, we're gonna iron it on. One thing I will say about this iron is don't touch. Make sure you don't touch this part. Pull a little bit on the other side. These wrinkles will be a little bit harder to get out with covering. And there it is. All of the wrinkles are out. Nice and tight. All the way across. No bubbles. No waves. I'll come back and cover these spots before I do the top. I want to cover these corners. The front here is the only I'm not real happy with. But they say once you get the covering on and you get it all on and you get a couple coats of the poly brush on, you can come back with light sandpaper and sand it, and it'll come out perfectly smooth. So we'll find out when we get there. But this one actually turned out a lot better than that wing so far. So the problem I have with the other wing is I did almost the same thing I did with this. I cut myself too short on the front and I left a gap on the one end. So it didn't come all the way over, so I had to put a filler piece in there. But they say that's fine. Once you put the poly brush on it, you can come back and sand it and you'll never even know. So we'll find out. So I got this side done. I'm going to do these corners, and then I'm going to come all the way around this edge. Not this edge, but this edge. All the way around. And put a little bit on over top of this covering, so then the other one will stick to this one real good. She's dried. I got this laid out. Some of the people say to water, to dampen this down with water. I tried one side of the other one, and they say it makes it lay flatter, but I didn't notice a difference, so I'm just going to stick the way I'm doing it. All right, that's going to do it for this one. If you guys like what you're seeing, please subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll see you on the next one. Keep it building.